Hi everyone, welcome to the next planner page video. Happy Monday. And today we have this telescope page. This is from Enchanted Forest, and I'm going to actually start with a background, which is quite unlike me, I have to say. I'm just trying to grab some paper to put behind the page. I don't normally bother with the planner, but because I'm doing pastel background, it might sort of go over the edges of the book. Whoops. So I'm just going to do that so that it doesn't sort of spill all over the place. Yes, so what I decided is we've got this telescope, obviously. I thought I would do a sort of galaxy style background, but I've never tried it with pastels, soft pastels, so I thought I would try it. And I'm going to do it first, and it's going to make a mess, and I've got no idea how well it's going to work. Wish me luck. Right, I'm going to start with a purple. Now in my Mungyo Pastels I've only got two, so I'm going to use the darker one. Just rub it onto my cotton cloth. There we go. And I'm going to dot it about on the page. Now the background goes behind the leaves and all around the telescope, so I'm going to have to just go over everything and figure out what I'm doing after. So yeah, I don't have to go over the whole telescope, but I need to go right sort of up to it. So just some splodges, whoops, of purple to start with. Like that, a bit there maybe, a bit here. And then we'll move on to a pink. I've got a lot of different pinks. Now I need a pink that I can put white dots on that isn't going to then go pink neon. I know one of these pinks does, so I'm going to have to just test them. I'm going to go off camera and do that. Hold on a minute. So what I did was grabbed a piece of paper in the back of my book, put a bit down of each of the 5 pinks that are here, and put some white pen on top to see whether any have discoloured, whether they've stayed white or gone pink. Now I think these two have gone a little bit pinky on the edges, but these 3 haven't. So we're going to use that colour, I think, which is, let's get my cloth, it's actually that one there. So these more reddy pinks, they're the white pen will go, pink, neon. That isn't what I want to happen. So I'm going to put some splodges of pink around the page now. Now it's a bit random, but it's tricky to keep it random. I need to hold the page with something that isn't my finger. Hold on, go get another cloth. Hold it with that. Is that the right spot? Yeah. Now, yeah, it's quite hard getting it random, I find. Random, yeah, not easy, but just splodge about. Right, a blue next. I don't want it, wow, I want more of a dark night sky blue rather than a pale lightish blue, but that end one there is almost black. I don't think it even shows up on camera, it's so dark. I think I might go for this one. Just splodge it about. Oops. It's quite dark, that blue. Whoops, I'll try and hold the paper still. Now you notice I'm not really worrying about joining them up at the moment. It's just splodgy splodgy. We'll try and make it look neat. It looks a mess, doesn't it? Right. I'm thinking, do we want a bit of a black in between them to make it look a bit more galaxy-like? I'm thinking maybe this dark grey rather than going straight black. You can see it still looks quite black, doesn't it? Yeah, it's not quite so dirty looking as a black. Just sort of put it in between. Now with the Galaxy Sky, whether you do it in pen or pencil, or not pen, I mean pastel or pencil, what tends to bring it together is the white dots that you add at the end. But what I need to do now is to get my cloth and just go over everything and rub it all together. Okay, I'll show you. So I'm just going to start in this corner and start rubbing and rubbing, and just it's like I'm blending. But I'm holding the paper down really hard, because if I don't, it will rip it, especially on the corners. To be very, very careful. You might be thinking, crikey, how on earth are we going to do the rest of the page? Yeah, I am. I'm just enjoying the process. Let me play with my pastels and be a toddler. Then I'll worry about the rest of the page after. There are some, I do know what to do, don't worry. Now, the more you rub it in, it will mute it a little bit, which could be okay, but it will be less transferable onto your hand or wherever. But I'm going to use some more pink, because I don't feel the pink areas are bright enough. Now, it's because I couldn't choose the really bright pinks because they don't work with the white pen, but if I can layer it up a bit, the pink particularly, it might just help, I think. It's gone very purple. I'm using the wrong bit of my cloth, that's why. Now, as I said, you know, putting the dots on, the sort of stars, makes a huge difference. But I can't put them on yet because I need to do all the other work, or else I will smudge them. So you'll have to bear with me, but you can see it in the thumbnail photo, I assume. I assume I put it in. Now let's have a look. It still looks a bit dirty, doesn't it? Let's add a bit more pink. I can add a bit more to some other areas. Now I know that this probably doesn't look really realistic, but I don't know. I don't really look at photos of galaxy skies. I just do something that I think might work. Oh, my phone's ringing. Oh, I'm gonna have to go. Right, I am back. I had a look at this as I left to get the phone. I thought, ugh. And I was really tempted to try and do something with it off camera, but no, I mustn't do that. But I think it will come together. Always, when I do these sort of galaxy sky pictures, they look messy and then they work. Now, one thing has occurred to me is that the grey is quite brown. So I'm going to use a different, I'm actually going to use the black, the very dark blue actually. And it looks almost black, and just put that on top of those areas to try and make it look a little bit less brown. I think it sort of looks a bit dirty, and that is what I was trying to avoid actually. So I shall put a little bit of black on top of those areas. Oh, and blue, sorry. It's a really dark blue. And hopefully it'll just lift it slightly. What I'm also going to do is get a light blue. Look at my cloth. I'm going to use the other side. I'm going to end up getting it all over my hands. I can use this slightly lighter blue to do a little bit, and then I think I'll be happy. So I'm just going to do a few areas Now, you're not looking for a perfect blend between colours. That isn't how it works. If you look at galaxy sky pictures, they're not perfectly blended. Whoops, I'm just knocking the green. I don't want green. You know, you get a sort of area, a bit of an area of colour and then a different area. So I think it's okay. I'm just going to make that do. I'm going to brush it all off with my brush and then show you what's next. Now, the leaves and we've got basically sort of a few distinct areas. We've got our leaves, we've got our telescope, we've got our wooden piece. Now the leaves I'm going to colour in silhouette, so I'm going to do all of those in black. I'm not sure if I'm going to use pencil or pen. I haven't decided. I'm just going to move these away before I end up tipping them all over the floor, which is my party trick. And so the leaves I'm going to silhouette. So yes, either pencil or pen, as I say, I haven't decided yet. And so I'm going to leave that for now. But the telescope and this piece I want to do in colour. So I'm going to have to erase the pastel off it. So I'm going to get my little clean cloth. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to get a bigger piece of paper. One somewhere. Here it is. To lean on. There we go. And erase this. Yeah. So you can see actually how easily the soft pastels erase. And how bright this looks. Look at that. It's quite amazing. So nice and bright. Yeah, it was my mum on the phone. She phoned me quickly and then we ended up talking for about 3/4 of an hour. She had one quick question. But it was fine. She wanted to ask me about, we're having it's a family get together at the weekend with some family members that have come over from abroad, and we've been talking about food and the menu and different things, meals and stuff, and that's all good. We've all decided what we're having and who's bringing what and all that sort of thing. But now this one is tricky because it's coming up from the bottom, the vines I'm talking about, but they're quite small. I'm thinking, see, I'm never going to be able to erase that vine without going out of the line, so I think I'm just going to leave that for now and think about whether I might do that in a silhouette as well. I'm not sure yet, but I'm only erasing. This bit's really quite simple to erase. We've got nice straight lines to follow. It's not too thin. Even at the bottom, it's the width of my eraser. So it's quite good. Obviously, if you don't have a little Tombow Mono eraser, which is what this is, it might be a little more tricky. But something you could do is just cut a little piece of eraser off if you've got a larger one like this. You could just cut a slice off and then use that slice for, you know, be careful, but get a nice corner and then you can get into all the bits. So that, or use a new one, which would help if you've got one, of course. I'm not suggesting you just go out and buy a new eraser just for this, but there we go. Just going to, wow, looks quite bright, doesn't it? But I can see that I've missed here. There we go. I'm not being ultra fussy, but you know, I want it to be a fairly. I'm sort of thinking that, you know, if a bit of it is got no background, then the rest of it needs to, or else it's gonna when I try and colour it, it won't be even. It'll look a little odd. But we'll see how it all works out. Just erasing down here. Yeah, we discussed all the sort of food and then she had another idea. Shall I do this? I was like, yeah, sounds good. My son will be pleased, it's his favourite. She said, should I do some egg mayo? My boy's like, yes. He loves it. I don't don't think to cook eggs because I can't eat them myself. I love them, but they make my tummy so sore. I don't, but yeah, I think that's probably mainly it. Let's give that a little look. Now this bit, because it's going to be brown, it doesn't matter too much if it's a bit messy, but I'm going to get that pink off from just there. And I think that's the sort of last bit. Now, as I said, all the leaves are going to be black, and I'm going to try a bit with pencil. I'm not going to do them all on camera, there's way too many. But I think what I'll do is I'll do these, okay? And we'll see how it looks and whether it needs to be a pen or whether a pencil's going to do. Because a pen gives us a more definite, defined line. You know, some pencils are better than others at laying down a deep colour. This is a Polychromos black, by the way. I had grabbed my polys for this because, yeah, I had a plan. I'm not sure if I've changed my mind about my great plan. It sounds very intriguing, doesn't it? I had thought that I might do the stand tripod in a silver and the telescope in a gold, but I wasn't sure whether we could get our colours erased enough, but I think we have. But what I think I need to do is make them quite light and bright, because, you know, we've got this galaxy sky, we're going to have lots of black around the edge, and so yeah, I figured that I'm just seeing if you can see, you can. I figured that it would be nicer if it's a little bit lighter, and it's going to be our main focal point if you think about it. That ends there because there's nothing else, it's the sky and everything else is black, so we're not really going to be looking at it, it'll just be like a frame. So that's that one. We'll do this one too. So I'm not going to do any more of the leaves apart from these on camera because there's so much to do. So I'm afraid it will be a lot of off-camera leaf colouring for everybody. But you can choose. You might not want to do them black. You might want to do them in a different colour. You could do them in a grey or in something completely different. And as I say, pen might work. I'm considering pen. I think it might be quicker, but I'm not very neat, so that's my sort of concern about using pen. So if you're neat with pen and you've got something that'll work, you know, I find Poscas are a little bit tiresome because you have to keep shaking them up and splodging them because they don't run really smoothly. So I won't be using those, but I do have a watercolour marker, but I don't know how well it's going to sit on top of the pastel. So there's that concern too. I have a fine liner, it's too thin. I think I would get a lot of gapping between the colour. So that's why I'm sort of tending towards thinking that pencil might be the best. And if I press fairly hard like I am here, it goes down quite quickly. I don't normally like to press really hard, but I've got paper under here and it's single-sided, so I think I could get away with it. So I'll probably do I think that stands out reasonably well, the black, so I think I will probably stick to black. Let's come in a bit closer and do the telescope. There we go. Now we have the telescope. I don't know what telescopes actually are made of. I'm thinking, are they actually wood? But I quite like, I'm thinking these bits, can we see these sort of sections and the semicircles on the line? Thinking maybe if I do those in silver and then do the main part of the telescope in gold, maybe that might look quite cool. So I think that's what I'm going to try. We'll see if it works. So I'm going to start with a black for my silver, but not very much. Just on the end of each bit, probably not on there, but a bit in there, because the semicircles are quite small, so I think if I put my black in there, I'm not going to have room for much lighter colours. Can hear some tapping. Don't know what it is. I'm not going to worry about it. And yeah, we'll introduce our slightly darker greys. Now, I like cold greys for silver. Gosh, I've got pencil rubbings everywhere. Just trying to tidy up a bit. Where should we go? I think we'll start with the cold grey 5. I'm just going to find my sharpener, which seems to have disappeared. Here it is. So here is our cold grey 5. And that's how I'm going to start. Well, I've already started. I'm going to go over the black and extend in. And here I'm just going to put a little line like that and extend this down. I'm only going to use one other grey, so I need to cover a fair bit of it if it's a larger area, but not much if it's a smaller area. So these can extend in a bit more. Oh, I didn't do that one there. Now I was thinking about doing the tripod silver as well, but I might not. I might just do it grey. I'm not going to do it black. I mean, it's tempting. My tripod's silver actually. Just looking at it now. As it sits on my desk, towering over me, but not quite. Okay, and then we need a lighter grey. I'm going to go for the 3, cold grey 3. I'll just sharpen it again. Now, as always with metallics, it's important to leave some white to give the illusion of shine and metallicness. So we'll leave a little bit, and here on the end of there, in the middle of here. Now I've got a bit of shine here. When I do the gold, the shine is going to be there as well, so it ties up. It might not make sense in physics with regards to light, but hopefully it will give the impression of gold, which is what I want to achieve. So here's our silver coming in. Now you might feel you want to darken up the ends a little bit if you think it's not quite shiny enough, because sometimes the bigger difference you have between dark and light, the shinier it looks. But I'm okay with that. I think that looks fine to me. And now our gold. Some people start their gold with black. I will start it with the brown. I'm grabbing the dark, no, not that one. The burnt umber is my first brown for the gold. Just giving it a nice sharpen. Burnt umber. And where we're going to put it is in here. Try and get it right to the edge. And the same here. And here. Oh, there's a loud train going by. So my son's been plotting and planning. It's quite fun. He's he watches a lot of voice artists on YouTube, and he quite fancies having a go. So once he turns 18, which isn't too long, he's gonna set himself up with the resources to be able to do that. So it's quite complex because he needs a current account, which the bank he's with you can't do till you're 18, and then he needs a PayPal account, which again you can't get till you're 18, and a Faber account to advertise, and he's going to set up a Spotify account, I think he said, where he showcases his skills and things like that, you know, just some samples for people to look at, and he's just sort of hoping he might get a little bit of paid work. I think he thinks it's going to be a really good fun, so that's good. And if he can make some money out of doing something he really enjoys, just like I do, I'm all for it. And of course he's still going to go to university and get a degree, and he, you know, probably end up being an accountant. But at the end of the day, if he can get a bit of pocket money, or even end up doing something that is going to lead to a career, that's brilliant. This is raw umber. I was really pleased. I didn't think he was going to be particularly enterprising, but he's just made the decision that because he's turning 18 he needs to sort of think about doing these things. So what we're doing is we're heading our colours towards this centre white part, and that our gold shine is going to be there as well. And we're also adding a much warmer colour to this page because the Galaxy Sky is all cold colours. So we're adding warmth, which should also help to draw the eye because it's different, but I don't know until I finish. You're lucky, you've seen the thumbnail maybe, you'll know what it looks like. I've got no idea. This I think needs to be a bit, take this down a bit further because it's really large section. Oops, let's hold the book still. There we go. Green gold next. Got to find it. Oops. Just knocking all my pencils about. Here is the green gold. I'm going to add one further colour. I do like to use 4 colours usually for my gold, just to make it quite bright and yellowy. Sometimes it doesn't quite look as bright as I would like if I don't put a yellow in it. I just realised that's there. We're a little bit off centre. We're sorted out. Don't need to be hugely precise, just almost. We'll get there. As I often say to you, it's not going in an exhibition in a museum, it's just for fun. There we go. And now our last colour. Now it's always hard, and you know, you can do a cadmium yellow, really bright and rich and yellowy, orangey almost, or you can go for something a bit browner or something a bit more lemony. I am going to choose today the Naples yellow. Looks quite orangey on in my window on my camera, but and then I'm just going to draw that in so we leave a small white gap like that. Hopefully it looks a bit goldish. It looks quite dark, but anyway. And we're just doing it on all of them. This is one I messed up a bit. I can't really do much about it. I've just got to draw it in a bit. There we go. Now if you don't want to do the gold, if it's a little bit too daunting or you just don't feel it's working for you, you do a nice brown, like wood. I think it could look like wood. Use a warm brown like a raw umber or something like that, and just do a simple brown colour. The only thing is there's wood at the bottom of the page, so you might want to make sure it looks a bit different to that. So down here, oh, you can't see, down here we've got wood, so you want to make sure it doesn't look the same. Okay, so now what are we going to do with our tripod? I'm thinking my tripod's got some black and some silver, so I'm thinking maybe I'll make this and this black and then all grey and then these silver. So I'm going to use some of the colours we used already for the, let's move it across, you can see it, there we go. Can you see it all? There we go. So I'm going to start with this grey that we used, the Cold Grey 5, to do this piece. Now I'm thinking, is this piece, I'm just trying to think it's like the pivot, isn't it? So this is a screw that goes through, it can turn, maybe this bit, maybe the centre bit filled in, and then maybe this bit so that it's dark here and here, and then we just lighten it a bit as we go around and leave a white bit on the edge so it looks like it's sort of silvery. I think I need to take that just a bit further in, like that, maybe. I don't know. That's that. So now I said that was going to be black. It's now silver. Maybe we'll make this bit. Don't want too much black. I'm going to make this bit like solid, so it looks like it's plastic rather than metal. That's what I'm thinking. So this sort of metal pivoty bit is on a plastic base, and then this bit, I think I'm going to do this metal and use the black. Let's just do it, I think it'll look better. So black here, and then just spread it in a bit. So put your heaviest layer there and then a bit less there, and then the Cold Grey 5, like that, and then our Cold Grey 3. I'm using the same colour combo. I'm going to do that throughout. I think it will work better. So we need to leave a little bit of white right in the middle for our shine. There we go. Okay, and now we have all of our legs. I'm going to do them all at the same time. Well, I need to grow another few sets of arms to do that. Let's get our black. Shush. Now I'm going to actually ignore this piece, and I'm just going to put a dark bit here where there would be shadow, and then less there, and the same here and here, like that. I don't want too much black. And then on the base as well, so we're going to go up and down and have our shine somewhere in the middle. Again, this is probably not going to work for physics, but hopefully it will just look right. We don't want too much black because of all that black dyeing. So let's quickly move to our Cold Grey 5. Let's go back up to the top. So I'm going to go right over it. And we can do quite a bit of darker because it's a fairly long item. Let's work out where the centre roughly is. You can measure it if you're not entirely confident, but I'm just going to sort of think it's about there. So we'll just need to carry this bit up a bit more, like that. And what the main thing is that they line up, that all the shine is on the same place in all of them. And as you can see, because we're doing it silvery, it doesn't really matter that it looks a little bit dirty from the pastel. Oh, I don't think so anyway. And actually, as the vines are black, you could actually colour over them. Like that. And then we'll grab our last one. This is, again, is the Cold Grey 3. Gosh, I'm getting hungry. It's 11:45. I always eat at 12. Now, where I put the shine on this one is going to be determined by this leaf. I think I'm going to leave it just there. And hopefully we'll be able to get that working on the other legs of our tripod. Like that. Oh, I have to uncover this one so I can, helps if I can see it. I'm hoping it looks a bit silvery. There we go. Even if it looks grey, I think it's okay. I'm quite pleased with that, to be honest. And then we have this bit of wood, which is our last coloured part. Now, do I use the browns that I used in the telescope to tie it together? I think I will. So I used the raw umber. That's what I'm going to use. And I'm going to just put raw umber all over this wood area to start with, just so that I can see where it is really. And then I can think about whether I want to add, that's got no pastel in it, whether I want to add another colour or not. Yeah, that goes down there. It's odd, this bit of wood, because it sort of is low here, but it isn't on the sides. But it's okay. Now, you may have guessed, I'm going to leave you alone to do the leaves on the edge. I will do mine off camera too. because I'm just doing black, it's not anything difficult or too exciting to watch really, so I thought I would just do it off camera. And then I think what I'll do is when I've done this wood, I will stop, I will have my lunch, I will finish my leaves, and then I will come back and we'll do all the finishing touches, because there are the stars, we need to do the stars and all that sort of thing for our galaxy sky, and the fun bit basically. But I feel like this is coming together. I wasn't very confident at the beginning, you may have noticed, I don't know, at the sky. I was worried about it and I didn't quite know whether I was going to be able to pull it all off, but I'm getting more confident now. And it isn't, I find the planner is the most scary thing to do. Now I know it's out of stock, if I mess a picture up I can't redo it, you know. So but I have that sometimes with other books too, where I do a series of on the same page. If I mess one up I can't redo it because I have another copy of the book. This is burnt umber. I'm going to do a little bit. I'm thinking here, you know, where there are these lines and marks, I might just do some stripes of brown just to try and make the wood look like it's got a bit of texture, you know, that it's not just flat. I think that's why Johanna's drawn these on here, so we can just go sort of underneath and around them. Then we'll see what we can do. And I think it just looks a bit rough, which you might prefer a smooth look, but I think it just looks a bit more wood-like when it's sort of rough and stripy. So there is the wood. I'm going to just do a few touches now before I finish with some shading and shadow. You don't have to do this. If you feel that you're happy with how it looks and you don't want to do it, that's absolutely fine. What I'm going to do is underneath these pieces, I'm just going to put in a little bit of black pen, where I think there might be a pencil, sorry, where there might be just a little bit of a shadow. Gosh, my pencil is so shiny, I'm struggling to see what I'm doing. So I'm doing it either on the right hand side or underneath each of these parts. It might make very little difference, but I just feel like I want to have a go really. And just add that under there. And then I'm thinking under here there might be some shadow, so I'm just going to put a darker black there and here and under here. Obviously we've already got black there, but it wasn't very hard. Now these legs have this pattern, and I'm thinking if I just mark just inside those lines all the way down, I'm trying to press a little bit less hard on these lighter areas, and hopefully it will just emphasize that pattern. Oh sorry, a little bit, sorry, you can watch me on this one. So a bit harder on this one and then lighter towards that faded bit, and we can put a bit more down at the bottom. And then the same here. There we go. Yeah, I'm happier with that now. But there is it so far. And as I say, I'm going to utilise this black pencil, luckily I've got another one, and do all around here. Lean on your pastel with paper, especially when you're doing this bit here. You might be able to lean on the desk and reach around the edge without actually leaning on the book, but this bit you may need to lean on some paper so not to smudge it. And then when you're done, well when I'm done, I'll come back on and I will do the stars, and I think it will just lift the whole thing. And yeah, so for now, thank you, but I'll be back. Right, I am back now and I have coloured all the leaves. Now how you colour the leaves is sort of up to you in the sense of layers. Now I've really only done one layer of black on the leaves because I wanted the patterns on them to sort of show through a little bit. I didn't want it to be really black, and I still think it gives that sort of black border silhouette-y effect without it needing to be really dark black. But it's completely your choice whether you, because with the Polychromos the first layer is not really dark, so I've only done the one layer, but you could do 2 or 3 or even a lot more to make it really dark. But I'm happy with how that looks, or else I would have done another layer. So all we've got left really now is our stars. I'm just looking for my pen. I'm going to use the Jelly Roll 10 to do some stars in our sky. Now it's up to you how you do your stars as well. Now I'm choosing to just do some sort of larger white dots and some smaller dots like this, little groups of 3 like that. Now if you are good at drawing stars, you might want to do an actual star. You could use a stencil for a star shape. You could do, I like the stars where someone does a circle and then a line like 4 across like that. Those are really good. I can't make them look very nice, so I'm not doing mine like that. There's another idea, I'll show you actually, because I'll do a few like this, where you can just go like that. That's quite a nice star shape. That's one that Johanna Basford does quite a lot, which I can just about manage to copy. If you're not sure, do a few on scrap paper first to try it out and see how, oops, let's just make that into a big one, and see how they look. Try and make it random. By making it random, I mean plan it carefully and place them completely not randomly, so they look evenly spread. I know, it's madness, isn't it? There we go. Just quite a few all over the place. Now I thought that I had picked some colours that didn't go neon pink with white pen. Unfortunately, I was wrong, and my stars are going pink. I'm a bit cross. I think it's the blue. Didn't expect it to be the blue. I thought it would be the pink, but never mind. We'll just pretend they're all fine and that I haven't noticed. We'll concentrate on the hot flush that's creeping around my face and making me feel very uncomfortable, and not worry too much about the stars. Ugh. Oh dear. I think I wouldn't feel so bad if it was winter. It'd be quite nice to get a little hot every so often, but with the summer, I mean, although my parents were on the phone earlier, as you know, and they were saying, oh, it's so cold today, we haven't opened the windows, it's, you know, and I was like, oh, I wish I felt like that. I don't feel that it's cold. I feel that it's, maybe it doesn't feel that much cooler to me. Now you can sort of make them as thick or thin as you like. I don't even know how much they're standing out on the camera. I can't see them at all. Now I haven't done any in behind the leaves, and we need to do something or else it just looks a little bit odd. But I'm going to do it quite carefully because I want to make sure I don't put any on top of the leaves, because that would just look a bit strange because they wouldn't be on top. So I'm just doing that. I'm going to put my arm around here very awkwardly and do a few in here. Just try and space them again in this sort of random-esque way that we're trying to achieve. Okay, let's do the bottom. Got quite a gap here. Let's put something in there. There we go. Now, the biggest problem I find with doing something like that is when do I stop? Do I just keep doing so many white dots over the whole page that actually the page is just white? No, don't do that. Just try and make it look natural. I've just noticed a bit that I've missed with my black pencil, so I'm just going to go back and do that in a minute. Once I've done this. There we go. Maybe one there. Stop it. Stop. Okay, I missed a bit of that stem there. There we go. There we are. I am going to leave that now. Let's pull this out because I think it always looks a bit better once we've removed the paper from behind the page. There we go. So there it is, all finished. It did take quite a long time to colour in all those leaves, I have to say. But I was quite distracted. I decided, you know, while I was doing it, I would have a chat to someone. I'd read the news. I'd do a few other things, look at the comments on my videos. You know, get generally distracted. So probably not the best way to time it. But yeah, it took a little while, but I think it was worth it. And as I say, I needed one layer. So that's that. So there we are. That is our Monday planner page all done. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope that's given you some inspiration. You may have coloured along. You may have thought you'd try something similar. You might do something completely different. I don't know. But anyway, I hope it was fun. And yes, thank you so much. And have a wonderful day and happy colouring.